Latropeth Language Tutorial 19, where we're talking about time-space orientation. So we'll begin looking at some time or temporal information expressed in English. He read the book yesterday. That was a long time ago. And some space information. He is here. He went over there. Now let's look at some adverbs with time or space reference in Latropeth. There's actually a long list of these, and if you want to see more of them, you can look at my formal grammar on my WordPress site. This is a few examples. Dasa baho tayam, today. Baho kawu, sometimes. Buabayukas, everywhere. Now let's look at a sentence example with baho kawu, sometimes. Remember, in Latropeth, the adverb will generally come after the verb form. Pinifordiis baho kawu na kumniemo. The man throws the spear sometimes. So let's revisit this diagram that I first introduced on the video about coordinate and subordinate clauses in Latropeth. Also in simple clauses, simple sentences, these terms are also used adverbially to express sort of time and space orientation. So in the middle you've got the X there, X marks the spot, and I've added a word tayam, literally this. You have in the middle baho tayam and bawa tayam. So baho tayam is now, bawa tayam is here, and baho is referring to time, bawa is referring to space. Then you can go forward by different degrees, and you can go backwards by different degrees, and then you can form an expression by mixing and matching the terms. So, for example, okay, you got baho, which is time, and we're using yerna, which is a long time back. So you could translate that as a long time ago. So let's look at a sentence example here. The man went to the river a long time ago. Baho yerna. Now let's look at boa, place, and use the term lekam, boa lekam, which you could simply translate as behind in terms of space. Nasuhayis boa lekam noyim. Okay, the deer stands or is standing behind. Nasuhayis boa lekam noyim. Now let's look at straight down the middle again, and at these two expressions. Baho tayam, now, and boa tayam, here. These are very common expressions that you often see in Latropeth. So let's exemplify them, okay? This is actually a question. Pi fafosayis baho tayam balum kainio. Okay, what is the boy doing now? Baho tayam. Nawais boa tayam noyim. Okay, so the deer sits or is sitting here. Nawais boa tayam noyim. So revisiting the diagram again and revisiting specifically baho yerna a long time ago. The Latropethian creation myth, the very first line, contains baho yerna.
Vanayis pidu baho yerna nasu da wewa mun kayumbaya fa wewa yam fo yerna hes.
Fanayis pidu baho yerna nasu da wewa mun kayumbaya fa wewa yam fo yerna hes. So I translated that in the video as there existed a long time ago only a frozen river and a frozen god and goddess. The translation is somewhat fashioned to make it more acceptable sounding in English, but let's have a look at translating it a bit more directly. Okay, so Fanayis is the invariable form that expresses existence. Pidu only, baho yerna, a long time ago. Nasu da wewa, frozen river. So in Latropeth, the adjective comes after the noun, and it's declined to agree with the noun in terms of its noun class. So it has a noun class 1 prefix da, corresponding to the noun class of river, which is noun class 1. Nasu da wewa, frozen river. Mun kayumbaye. Now, the second object of Fanayis, because there's two in this sentence, there's Nasu da wewa, but there's also kayumbaye, is an animate object, and you may remember that in Latropeth an animate object is preceded by an animate object marker. It's usually kaya, but in this case it's an honorific form, mun, because the object here is gods. Just want to talk a bit more about Kayumbaye. So I translated it in the video as God and Goddess. Kayumbaye is actually, to use a 21st century term, non-gender specific. Basically, if you say God, you automatically think of a male. Goddess, obviously, female. Kayumbaye doesn't really specify, so it's probably better translated as something like God forms. Fawewa, they're also frozen in the beginning, so okay, and they fit into noun class 7. So Kayumbaye Fawewa, Amfoye Nahes, and finally that last part, Amfoye actually means two, or Nahes is a demonstrative. Those. So if you were to actually translate it more directly into English, it'd be something like, there existed a long time ago a frozen river, or there existed a long time ago only a frozen river, and those two frozen god forms. But it's not quite so smooth in English to translate it that way. Thanks for watching!